Hey listeners, are you thinking about starting your own podcast? Well, do I have the app for you? It's called Anchor. Anchor will get you out on Google Podcast, Breaker, Radio Public, Spotify, and many, many others. Not only that, Anchor will find you sponsorship so you can get paid. That again is Anchor.fm, Anchor.fm. Welcome to Abe's Front Porch Talk. Hope you guys are having a great Monday night. Check out my YouTube channel at Abe's Front Porch Talk there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to Abe's Front Porch Talk in these audio podcasts. If you're listening to me while you're traveling or whatever you're doing, please share with your family and friends and leave me a comment. I noticed on Podchasers that I have a 5-star rating. I'm so thankful for the 5-star rating. A guy named John from Podchasers left a comment. Sorry, I'm getting tongue-tied there. He left a comment and he gave me a 5-star rating, said he loved how I explained stuff out for an example, such as the UFOs and aliens. Thank you so much there, John. I greatly appreciate that. I just stumbled across the 5-star rating and your comment about 2 weeks ago, and I was trying to figure out how to reach to you to tell you thank you, and I never could get it figured out. So if you're listening, thank you so much. I'm going to be talking to you guys for the next 10 days. The next 10 days, I'm going to talk about the 10 commandments. And on these 10 commandments, I'm going to go as deep as I can into it. In some ways, it's going to be like what you learned in Sunday school, but in some ways, it is not. I'm going to go deeper than what you heard your preacher or Sunday school teacher saying about them. This is going to go deep, and I'm probably going to hit a nerve with a lot of people, but I don't care if I do or not. You know, my grandparents were Pentecostal ministers, if that tells you if I'm worried about hitting nerves with people or anything like that, because, you know, they're always getting on people's toes and stuff. But I'm going to go on and I'm going to get started here. I hope you enjoy this. And so, let's get on. The first one of the 10 Commandments says, "Thou shalt not have no other gods before me." Now look at all the gods that we can make in our lives. We can make a TV our God and don't even realize it. We can make a flag our God and don't even realize it. Just anything in general can become our God. And you know, a lot of people will bow down and worship Satan. And he does not like that. God's a jealous God. And he does not want you bowing down and worshiping Satan. There are those who do not believe in God that created the earth, but they believe in all these other false gods, all these other idol worshiping gods of statues that don't even exist as a god, that did not create the earth. And we got to be careful which God we bow down to. We've got to be careful which one we're worshiping. There's only one true God that breathed life and made life. And he's in heaven on the throne now. But let me tell you this. What do you have in your house that you may have a statue or something in your house that you really adore? And maybe you go to this and say a little prayer. Is that your God? Is that your altar? What God are you serving? Is the question. Do you care more about your car than you do teaching your children about the ways of God? Do you care more about teaching your children how to take care of a vehicle and how to fix one up? Have you let money become your God? Now, here's another one. Money can be a God. Money is the root of all evil. But did you know money, when greed sets in, people start worshiping that money. And you got all these corporations in the world that's wanting all this money to come in and more money. And they try to outdo one another. And they're trying to always shut the other one down. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself on this because that involves another commandment as well. But people in general that comes into money through inheritance is another easier way. And say somebody inherits, $500,000. And they start putting this up and they start getting these homes and then they forget where they came from because they let the money get to their heads. So that money, they started worshiping the money and then they started investing and more money started coming in through businesses and whatnots. And maybe not only did you inherit money like this, but you inherit a family business somehow down the line. And that was a multi-million-dollar business you inherited. So now you've got this good career from wearing rags to dressing, in fine clothing, off the top of the line clothing. You're driving brand new vehicles, but you're forgetting that God gave you this stuff, but you turned around and put God second and gave up on Him and started worshiping the money and let all that go to your head. You started wanting more because you knew you could get out and do things with it. Seemed like you had more friends. People started coming out of the woodwork. And you learned how to start making more money. And when you invest, you learn through revenue and stuff like this how to bring in this cash and all this cash flow. And you just forgot. You quit going to church. You quit praying. You just didn't do anything. You got where you made that money your God. And all of a sudden, your eyes start seeing dollar signs. And every time that register went ding, ding, your eyes just started rolling in the back of your head. And it was like a lottery machine when you're playing that lottery and stuff. And those numbers get to rolling. Your eyes are constantly rolling so far into your head that they don't even stop anymore. You can't even see what's in front of you because your eyes are constantly rolling like the slot machines in a lottery place. You done lost sight of how you inherit that money, who trusted you with that money, and you betrayed the trust with God. You started worshiping the golden coins, and you started worshiping all that gold and silver is what I'm trying to say, folks. And, sorry, I get tongue-tied a lot, too. But you have taken your brand new car that you got. And maybe this car was a $200,000 car. You had the money. You bought it. You love it. You treat this like precious gold, like it's very fragile. And you bathe this car and you treat it like a little infant baby. You make sure this car don't get no scratches. You make sure it's kept up in a garage, probably covered up. You may wash this car once a week, keep it waxed. You might take it out on the weekends for a ride. You show this car off every chance you can get, and you let this one vehicle become your God, and you spend more time with it than you did in the Word of God or serving God yourself. So you you took the time up with that vehicle. You forgot your family. You forgot who your close friends were at one time, all for the money, all for these brand new cars, the nice clothes. You took all this in and don't even realize what you have done because your eyes started running like them slot machines, spinning in your head. And if you own a business, all you heard every time that restaurant went ching, ching, your eyes sped up faster. Just rolling. If you look closely at some people, when they see money, you'll start seeing those dollar signs and you'll start seeing them roll as fast as they can. And it's like, boy, your eyes are rolling so fast in the back of your head, I can't even see your pupils anymore. It's kind of scary looking there. You thought you had it all. There's all these other false gods out here besides money and cars. People's made statues and call them gods because they believe that is a god. And they worship these false gods. And there are some names I'm wanting to name off, but I know I cannot name them. But you go to these statues, and children are taught that this is God, and it is not God. And as they grow up, they're always known this was a god, and in some places they're forced to worship this statue as a god. And they are told if they do not, they could be killed or even whipped by the government. It is sad that we live in a world like this today. It is sad we live in a world where people will worship a statue, build a statue of anything. Do you remember in the Old Testament when Moses was up on the mountain, and up on that mountain talking to God as the Ten Commandments were being written, they had built a golden calf and worshipped the golden calf, and that's why God made it one of the commandments, thou shalt not have no other gods before me. They worshipped the golden calf. That golden calf didn't bring them out of bondage. That golden calf didn't depart the Red Sea. That golden calf didn't free them from where they were. But they made that golden calf and chose to worship it. At what price did it cost them later in life? This is what people's doing by statues. We're so far advanced in modern day time, there are certain statues people are worshiping today. And if they even admit trying to take down a statue, people will throw a fit and talk about how it's part of history and it does not need to be torn down. But that statue has become a god and worshipped in so many ways. The only reason people are throwing a fit about the statue supposed to represent history to be torn down is that had become their god. They rather worship that. These are people who are even throwing a fit about tearing it down, saying you're tearing apart a piece of history away, that don't even go to church. These are people who don't even teach their kids about religion or anything. This is those that says, oh, this is all about history. That is their God. You wait and see in your town if there's something about a piece of history of a statue or a tree or something that's ready to be torn down, and people will throw a fit over it. And it'd be the exact same people. Not only is it Christians involved, but it's also those who do not go to church as well. And Christians fussing about statues being torn down, saying their freedom's been taken away, their rights been taken away. But in reality, it says in the Ten Commandments, you're not supposed to have none of that stuff. And that's jumping the gun a little bit there too, but that proves that's your God. You chose that as your God. There are certain people that you have posters of models and stuff on your walls and pictures of certain places that you adore so much, and you just stare at it and you love it and you don't want nothing to happen to that. And in some ways, or in a lot of ways, should I say, you are worshiping that picture and you don't even realize what you're doing. Now, let me tell you, I've got stuff I like and things that was given to me that I like. I don't want it to break or be damaged. You take care of what people gives you, but it comes to a point, if you let that become your God, then you're wrong. What is your God? Once again, what is it in your life that you love the most that you did not realize was actually your God that you need to pull away from? This is the time. I know I've got some things I could think of for myself that I could get rid of. But we all come to that conclusion. It's to accept what it could be. So let's make sure we do not worship false statues. Let's not build things like the golden calf and worship the golden calf. And you know it's not just a golden calf, but there's other false religions out here that worship statues as well, that's made them their God. Think about it. But this is all I have for tonight. Thank you for listening to Abe's Front Porch Talk. Don't forget to subscribe to my podcast. Don't forget to check out my YouTube channel. You can type in the Google search bar Abe's Front Porch Talk, and that's ABE' Front Porch Talk. And it'll pull up on all the platforms that I'm on, and it'll take you to my YouTube channel or any audio podcast platforms that you may listen to or already have it out to, and it'll take you to a bunch more. I can't name all the platforms I'm on, but there's plenty. And I am thankful. I have a 5-star rating. And thank you once again to John. I've tried to reach out to you for giving me that 5-star rating on Podchasers. I appreciate that so much. So if you're listening to this, thank you. This is my way of trying to reach out to you. Thanks.